Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Steam into Star Wars at Home version with our video series. My name is Mr. Gross, librarian at Washington Community High School, and I have two folks here joining me. We'll start by introducing Will Crouch. He is a WCHS alum and has done some performances for us at Steam into Star Wars in the past when we've met in person. Will, great to have you.
Hey, thanks again for having me. Always happy to be here.
Absolutely. And our other guest today is Rebecca. She is a senior at WCHS and a member of our book club. Rebecca, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right. Well, it's always fun to talk Star Wars, and in this case, it's Steam into Star Wars. Normally, we're meeting face to face, and we get to talk about books. We get to talk about our science and math and technology and everything else that goes into it. But unfortunately, we couldn't get together this year. So we're doing this quick video series that you can join all week of January 4th, and the videos will still be there afterwards. If you haven't already, follow the Washington Community High School Facebook page. We have an event there where you'll find the notifications of all these videos. Or on Twitter, follow the WCHS library at WCHS_308 library. We'll be posting all of the videos there as well. And in case I forget at the end, I do want to point out that our plan is 100% fully to be back in person for 2022 for Steam into Star Wars. But this year, this is what we do. We're pretty much used to it by now. And so today we're going to talk about the more adult version of Star Wars books. You know, the difference between a young adult Star Wars book and an adult Star Wars book are the young adult Star Wars books generally have main characters are teenagers or of that teenage year. Whereas the adult books, the main characters are adults. So like Han Solo or Chewbacca or Princess Leia, they're all adults. And so that's why we call them Star Wars adult literature. We may be talking about the movies today. We may not be talking about the movies today. I'm not sure. So I guess the best way to find out is to jump right into it. So Will, we're going to come to you for your first, for the first adult Star Wars story. What do you recommend?
Okay, buckle your seatbelts, everyone, because we are in Legends territory. That's right. We're not talking Disney today. We're taking something back to 1990 something. We are
Excellent.
doing Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. A very classic Star Wars book that has been a lot of stuff pulled from in recent memory. Most important, Mr. Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yes.
He is the main villain of this story and the two other stories in the trilogy. It's a very lovely tale. And speaking of Han and Chewie and Leia, the gang is back together. It is 2 years after Return of the Jedi, and they are back in action, everybody. It is ready to go, and we are Star Warsing it up. It is a great read for any kid who wants to read this, honestly. I read this when I was in middle school. You can still enjoy it, or you could be 95. This is accessible to anyone.
Excellent. That's a great choice. I love the fact that you dove into the Legends there. You know what? I was actually debating a Legends book with the new Disney Investors announcement, and we're going to have a feature film on the Rogue Squadron. And so I almost pulled out that series to talk about today, but I didn't. And so thanks for the Legends. Thanks for the Legends suggestion. Rebecca, how about you? What is a adult Star Wars book that you are going to recommend to us?
Well, mine's more modern. The trilogy is still actually in the working. Alphabet Squadron by Alexander Freed. I thought it's really cool because it deals with the aftermath of Operation Cinder, but it also kind of goes into the beginnings of the New Republic. So it's like a nice connection between the two. And it kind of covers things like how they start up and the struggles of keeping like their government together, and it's really, really interesting.
Now, help me out on this one. The first two books of that series are out. Is that correct? And we're waiting on a third?
Yeah, I think the third one's in May, maybe this year.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I think that is a really great recommendation. I listened to the audiobook of that one. And by the way, everybody, almost all of these books are out in audio, and they are not our old school audio where it's just someone reading the book to us. This is serious acting going on, and great voice actors that they've chosen for some of these. Great reading. They put sound effects and music in the background of a lot of these new Star Wars audiobooks. And so it's a great way to consume those books. And don't worry, you still have read the book if you've listened to the audiobook. At least in my book, that is still a read of the material. And I'm glad you said something about Operation Cinder, because some people who have enjoyed season 2 of The Mandalorian, we got a reference to Operation Cinder in the second to last episode of the season. And so once again, you can get Operation Cinder mentions and some background on that in the Alphabet Squadron, as well as in a comic series I'm going to have to, oh no, I forgot the name of the comic series, but there's a comic series that takes place right after Return of the Jedi that references Operation Cinder as well.
And Battlefront 2 for all you gamers out there.
Oh, excellent. I'm so glad you said that. I forgot about that. The main character's name in that is?
Iden?
Iden Versio, yeah.
Iden Versio, that's right. So several different places where we can learn more about Operation Cinder. So great recommendations from both of you. The one, I'm going to go back a little ways, not quite as far as the Legends Heir to the Empire, but I'm going to go back to episode 1 of the films. The Phantom Menace by Terry Brooks. This book is so wonderful. Now, anybody that was at Star Wars Celebration at the podcast stage knows that I love this book, because I talked about this book on the podcast stage in Chicago. And the reason being for this, I'll keep it short, is because the first 20 or so chapters of the novel aren't in the movie. The movie starts at about chapter 20 of this book. And I think it's such an important 20 chapters of the Star Wars saga, because it takes us into a little bit of more background about Anakin Skywalker and his, and as a child, his involvement or encounter with Tusken Raiders. I'm not going to say anything else about that, because we know Anakin's relationship with Tusken Raiders as as a young adult. And so, but there's a very telling piece to that. And I think the story starts off with sort of an answer to Luke saying, and several people saying along the way, there's goodness inside him. In those first 20 chapters of episode 1 of Phantom Menace by Terry Brooks, that kind of gives us that clue that there is goodness in Anakin later on down the road. So I highly recommend that. Well, thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, Will, for joining us on this episode of Steam into Star Wars at Home Edition. Be sure to check out our other videos on children's literature, young adult literature, and Star Wars nonfiction. We have a special guest in the nonfiction video, so be sure to check us out there if you haven't done so already. Follow the library at WCHS_308 library, and join us next time. Thank you.